You think we'd be sick? I'm running out of the energy. See, we use.
What up, world? It's Legrand, artist, activist, ecopreneur, host of the Keep That Same Green Energy platform, and welcome to another edition of the Keep That Same Green Energy podcast. Like we always do about this time, we have our guests introduce themselves. Guests, please introduce yourself.
Now, how am I supposed to follow up behind that, man? That's crazy,
That's
man.
what I do.
That's what you do.
That's what I do.
All right, hey, yo, what's good, world? It's Jimmy, last name Bodies. Hey, because I got a junior around here who takes his name serious, I gotta say Jimmy Bodies Senior. So, hey, shout out to you, son. I know you're probably watching this though, so that's what I do. A little bit about me, man. I'm just a serial entrepreneur, man. A guy that grew up with big dreams and just seen most of them come true, man. So, hopefully, what you get out of this could be an inspiration to you as it is to the rest of the world.
Indeed, indeed. So, Jimmy, how did we first meet? Or what was your first impression of how we met?
I'm going to say we met technically through a third party. I remember when I first moved to the island, a couple years ago. The first person I met was, I don't know what I met, Johanse first or Carlos first. But it was between those two, through the greatest fraternity in the world, Alpha Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. And we met at the golf course. I remember like yesterday, man. It was a golf tournament, and man, I remember, man, was you and Norm come rolling around the goddamn golf course going 3,000 miles per hour. I said, "Who the fuck are these motherfuckers here?" I'm talking the golf course just bouncing and everything, man. And he immediately just got out and just started talking crap, man. And that was our introduction, man. That was the first introduction, man. I was like, yo, these cats wild.
You still agreed to do the podcast.
Yeah, man. I don't know why I keep doing this to myself.
I think for me it was very similar, like the introduction to a third party. And like most people, you hit either the energy's good or the energy's bad right away. I'm a good judge of energy. Mm-hmm. Energy was good. We vibed. We had some jokes right away.
Yeah, we did.
I jumped in the truck. We had some discussions and stuff like that. So we just, as typically is with our fraternity, brothers, just connect on that level. So one of the things I wanted to ask you is, I know what you do, but I think our audience wants to know what you do. But from an experience perspective, last time we talked, we had a good discussion about what differentiates what you do from what other people do in the same space. And a lot of it came down to the experience.
Yeah.
So can we walk through that in real time? I got a stick in my hand.
I'm going to walk you through it. Y'all listen, don't cancel me, y'all. I'm raw and authentic with everything that I do. I would say what differentiate Bravado is that...
What is Bravado?
Bravado Premier Cigars is the name of the cigar company that I founded and owned it since 2025. It's probably one of the more faster growing cigar brands that's out there. So basically what differentiates me or differentiates my team from other companies that we genuinely care from everything from the tobacco, where we get it from, how we roll it. The first thing that I'll tell you that differentiates me from most brand owners that I don't just put a label around a stick. I actually roll my own. That's how I started. This is no shade. This is no stone. This is no shade. This is no stone. But I mean, a lot of cigar brands and owners, man, they don't even know how their sticks are even rolled.
Like a red man, how you roll the blunt type thing, or just
man, straight up, man. I roll the blunt, man. Here you go. It's yours, But for me, I took the time over a 3-year period to actually understand the tobacco, understand what makes a blend. If you had told me before I started that if I rolled a cigar today, I ain't smoking that bad boy for months at a time, it would have blew my mind.
You thought you were just...
I thought I could just roll it up. I thought I could roll that thing up like a blunt and start smoking it. Okay. Meanwhile, you roll it today. I mean, my process is a little bit different without giving away my tips of the trades, but I'm not going to gatekeep it, but my process is after I roll it, man, you end up freezing it to get rid of all the, because you got to think about it. It's a tobacco leaf. You know how your mama used to cook collard greens back in the day? What she had to do to the collard greens? What's the first thing she did? She had to wash them, clean all the butt. You had to clean them. Yeah, so it's the same process when you start talking about tobacco. Tobacco is a actual plant grown in soil. So when you go out there and you pick your tobacco, it's equivalent to picking the greens that you put in your body. So you want to make sure that you're picking quality tobacco because it's going inside of your body. So even after you roll it, you want to take extra precautions. Me personally, free game, I typically freeze mine for a couple weeks. And etc.
I do that from time to time.
Yeah. I typically freeze them and refrigerate them and go through that whole curing process to make sure that my customers are not putting any harmful things and items in their body. Like we go through the leaves, we make sure we don't see the little pinholes and all that stuff in them, which is a sign of larva bugs and etc. that can leave a bunch of other harmful things to the human body. So don't just y'all cigar people, y'all know what I'm talking about now. Y'all pick them leaves up, y'all see those pinholes in them. Put them leaves down. Put them down. There you go. Put them leaves. Put them leaves down. Y'all know which ones we need to put back.
Okay. So you were careful about understanding the leaf rolling process, the quality of the leaves, the prep.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of. It's way more prep work than it is rolling work.
Okay.
Yeah, way more. It's like you said. The scenario I like to use is picking up, growing up in the South, picking up turnip greens. You pick up some turnip green leaves and they're sunburned.
Okay.
It's no different with tobacco.
Okay.
One half of the leaf may be in great shape. The other half of the leaf may be burnt to hell.
Use that at all.
I mean, you can de-stem it and use the proper side, but don't, and this is common with what we call filler leaves. So filler leaves is the actual tobacco inside the binder itself. So me personally, when we roll our cigars, we do not put any, sunburned or excessively dry, or, things that if you wouldn't feed it to your family or kids, you take your cigar the same way. Don't feed it to the world.
Okay.
But that's up to your leadership or my leadership and my quality of what I expect out of my team to know that, hey, we don't do that.
Okay.
That's not what we do here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're having a quality smoke experience, and hopefully some of you smokers are fired up with us and enjoying that experience with us. Thinking about, and you and I have had this conversation before, from a circular economy perspective, and thinking about how you grow the cigars, how do you make a sustainable cycle from, you're pulling them from the ground, you're processing them, cleaning them, you convert them into cigars, and then what happens to replenish the leaves and stuff back in the ground? What things do you think to do that?
Let's just say they're out the ground and they're at my storage, with the they're no longer replantable. Like the stems are detached.
Yep.
One of the key things of nature that I have to rely on is proper water. And believe it or not, no matter where I go, I can't use tap water a lot. I use a lot of distilled water. And
particular reason?
Yeah, because let's just say if I have a humidor and I use tap water to fill up the humidifier cartridges, right? Okay. So the thing with tap water is a lot of times, and you don't know this because the naked eye is blind to it unless you start testing it. But what I do know is that if it's unfiltered or unpurified water, you are releasing all of that humidity inside of that humidor to your cigars and etc. When a lot of distilled water it's more pure. It's already been broken down, and so you're opening it up to a cleaner humidor when you use more distilled products. Okay. And even if I'm rolling, let's just say if I'm rolling a cigar and normally I sandwich them all in between, 2 layers of a plastic similar to like a trash bag, but not without the chemicals. So, just get your little spray bottle, shoot up in the air, and I just shoot distilled water because the mist keeps the leaves moist, and then you just kind of sandwich them in between because once you de-stem them, they'll slowly start to dehydrate themselves.
Okay. So, that's good. A lot of times people don't think, from the circular economy perspective is as we take raw materials from the earth, what are we doing to put it back? But but I see that you're doing some things in your process. You're at least thinking about it.
Yes,
I think
at least thinking about it.
That is where we, I think that's where we gain, not just from the environment, but also just from a business perspective. There's some gains.
Yeah, there's some gains because you got to think about it, man. You can't just treat it as, hey, here's a cigar, but this is going into people's body. And the thing is that tobacco and smoking already has a negative health condescending effect to it as it is. The least you can do is educate people that, it's not the smoking that's necessarily bad for you. It's the processes that a lot of tobacco industries take. The additives, the extra things they do to try to preserve. It's kind of like going to buy frozen food, right? When you open up a frozen food bag, you oftentimes are going to find little packets and stuff, or ramen noodles or something. Yeah, you're going to find all that stuff. It's the same process. You could choose that, or you could choose more of a healthier route.
Okay.
So
one of the things you started to kind of touch on, and it's a good segue, is you talk about water, and water resources and distilled versus tap. So we're here in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
And right now, the island is experiencing some water challenges. And for the record, folks, it's been very difficult for me to understand how an archipelago surrounded by water is having water issues.
We're on the island, surrounded by water.
But I was today years old when I learned some things that were rather appalling to understand, and we'll get into it a little bit. But what's your opinion of like the water scarcity, just water resources in general, particularly as it relates to the island? I mean, right now we're under significant water scarcity right now. So,
if you had asked me this same question a few years ago before, moving to Puerto Rico, for one, the island is absolutely drop dead gorgeous, beautiful, and thank you, Puerto Rico, for welcoming me as one of your own. I genuinely appreciate that from the bottom of my heart.
Amen.
But it's something that should be resolved. It's something that should be taken serious. The water shortages, the power shortages. I think it's something that we really need to look at a fix versus accepting it as a reality. I think for so long it's been, it's Puerto Rico, the power and the water always goes out. Well, why?
Yeah.
Why is that an accepted reality? That there's hardworking individuals here who go to work every single day to provide for their family.
Yep.
And for that family to not know if they're going to have clean water tonight or water for a couple of days, it's unacceptable. It's absurd, and it's not just Puerto Rico. You really think about it, and predominantly, black and brown areas just in the U.S. period, water is a crisis, it's an issue.
It almost seems like it's intentional.
It's almost seems like it's intentional.
So I'm not going to get you in the hot seat. I'm the resident activist here, so I can say some record stuff. But, you didn't share with us. You have an engineering background. So from an engineering perspective, civil engineering?
Yeah.
Civil engineering. So again, this is in your bailiwick if you consider, structural environment falling in that discipline. I'm going to let you speak from a technical perspective, but just from a general, this is how I look at it, just from a general understanding. If you have a cistern that is capturing rainwater, you should be able to do, at the very least, without applying water filtration system, you should at least be able to flush toilets, maybe wash clothes. It doesn't make sense to me that we wouldn't offer residents the flexibility to be able to self-sustain, right, with rainwater or whatever. And I get it. You can't use it for everything. Like, you might not want to wash the dishes with rainwater. I get it. But what do you see from a system perspective? This doesn't. And again, I may be underthinking it, but without getting into much engineering, flush. you should be able to at least, be able to wash clothes. You may not shower, with that rainwater, but you're not.
Right, and it goes deeper than that, Legrand. What I'll tell you is that even if you have the proper cistern system, and one thing I've noticed here in Puerto Rico is that there's a lot of renovation going on, right? You go down Condado, there's brand new construction. I think a solution for Puerto Rico could be is to, if you go look at most of these old houses, it's still all galvanized iron pipes. Like there's no PVC, there's no clean piping per se, regardless of what it may be. I think what we need to look at is starting from the root cause all the way down, right? So I'm in water towers here. Do we know? I know it's one out there by me, Tour Bar.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, I think there's one. So it's probably very, very, very few, right? So we probably need to look at, hey, are we pulling water from our natural resource that we're surrounded by?
I mean, is it as simple as desalinization?
Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
Again,
is there a way to pull clean and push out to residential places, commercial, etc. But I think at some point we got to figure out how can we help ourselves.
To your point earlier, it is absolutely unacceptable. Like on an island, like it just.
It's just like saying we ran out of seafood in Puerto Rico. It's like, how do you run out of seafood? You surrounded. How many oceans?
Yeah, it just is mind-boggling to me that people will talk about a water shortage. And again, I understand droughts happen. I understand that we might not have enough reservoirs or water towers and stuff like that. But I think if you give the people the ability to have their cisterns and stuff like that, it just seems very colonizer-esque. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. That's diabolical.
So from a climate perspective, you bring up another good point about we're about to embark on hurricanes.
Yeah, about to embark on hurricane season is here.
So I came through this climate-based fellowship and learned a lot about different solutions for the climate. And I'm going to ask you what your opinion is. I'm thinking about, for season 3, changing the focus from climate mitigation to climate adaptation.
Break that one down.
Okay,
yeah, you gotta break that one down for the people.
Okay. So okay for
me, y'all.
For me.
So from this, I am people.
So when we talk about climate mitigation, we're talking about I am talking about trying to suppress or keep the global temperature of the Earth from going up 1 or 2 degrees because science has proven that the higher that number goes, the more irreversible climate change is. So I think there's a shorter path to saving lives, asking people to prepare for the climate that's inevitable because you won't do the mitigation, than it is to try to ask people to stop what they have been doing. So in other words, it would be easier for me to tell Johanse to prepare his house for a hurricane than it is for me to tell Johanse stop turning the light switch on and start eating vegan or start doing things to counter climate change. Now, I think we need both, right? But I'm not the most optimistic about human beings, so I'll just put that out there.
Yeah. No. You own something with that.
Okay, so they haven't been heeding the warnings for about 20 years, and
about the climate change.
About that number going up. They're not doing much. In fact, okay, I'm getting on a little soapbox here. The greenwashing that comes from talking about a 2030, 2040, or 2050 net zero goal, to me, it's just punting. It means you don't want to address it now.
Yeah,
until it knocks on your door.
It got to the point now. You ever notice as we got older? I'm the youngest, by the way. As we got older, Thanksgiving and Christmas, man, you ever notice that you start wearing less and less clothes than when you were a kid?
Oh yeah. When you
For
were a
Thanksgiving
kid,
and Christmas. You
you
were
were
bundled up.
What?
You ever notice as you got older, you started walking out on Thanksgiving and Christmas in like shorts and t-shirts?
This is what I'll say. When I was living up north, when we went outside, people talk about we outside. When we was outside, we was outside for like 10, 12 hours. So like when you are in snow and elements like that for that long, you gotta be covered up. So you gotta be covered up. So, and again, I do think it's getting warmer. I mean, that 1 or 2 degrees of global temperatures, I don't think that we as adults feel it. Like, you know what I mean? But it does seem like.
But there's parts of the world that do feel it.
Yeah, like, absolutely.
There's parts of the world that's suffering just from that 1 to 2 degree difference.
Absolutely.
You know.
So when I think about Puerto Rico reaching temperatures of like 120 plus 2 years ago, like that is unheard of. But it's all climate change, right? So what was your answer? Do you feel like we should be continue to focus on mitigation, or should we focus on adaptation?
I think adaptation would be the short-term answer. I think mitigation, I mean, you're talking policies and politics at that point. When you start talking about mitigation, I mean, that's a lot of the mitigation will go beyond what the average person that just gets up and work a 9 to 5 can even do, because it takes more than that. It takes the people to really force the change. I mean, that means understanding when you vote, who are you voting for and what are they? What are their power? What are their views on global warming and etc. So I think the short answer would be the focus on the adaptation of what can you do as an individual to prepare yourself and your family and loved ones about what's going on around you with climate change. That would be from my personal opinion. Yeah, I think that makes sense for the people like me that just wake up and work every day and try to make an honest living.
Well, let me ask you this: What do you do today? Like, if you had to pick one thing or one new thing that you're doing right now, or want to do to either adapt to the climate or mitigate climate change, what would you say? And it doesn't have to be in your business. It could be just like
everything that I do, unfortunately, ties into my business when it comes down to it. I think that we should pay closer attention to how we're doing agriculture as one thing. For those that don't know, I also, have a construction company as well, and even just buying lumber, with the cost of lumber goes up, from trees. There are certain trees, like right now, try to go buy cedar.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, try to go buy cedar right now.
It's rare anyway. It's rare.
But what happened to cedar trees?
Yeah, we used to use them all the time.
We used to use them all the time. If you go back to the original place in the house, they were all built out of a very strong cedar. But now we're going down to, that super cheap softwood. That's why houses are flying out the way to the point where most states now have what they call a Hurricane Act, which basically means that your insurance policy has to now cover up to 70 miles an hour wind whenever you build new construction. I know it's law in Texas. I know Mississippi, primarily states that I work in. Like, I'm responsible for 70 mile an hour wind. So what does that force me to do? Pick the right lumber. You got to pick the right wood. So if you go buy that $1.59 2x4, that you got to stack them and double nail them, just to get some stability out of it. Versus, years ago, before I even got into the industry, you can go buy, a nice strong pine cedar, and that bad boy wasn't going nowhere. Yeah. And so I think that we've slept on a lot of things that really matter, and agriculture is one of those things that, if I was to switch gears and get into another industry, it would be timber, agriculture, and things of that nature.
So it's interesting that you mentioned that, because a lot of people, and I worked in the fossil industry for a number of years.
Oh, man, that's dope.
But a lot of times they blame. First of all, fossil fuels is definitely an egregious user of emissions and things of that nature. But agriculture is the same, if not more, to the environment. And everybody thinks it's cow farms and livestock farms and stuff like that, but it's the methane, it's the carbon escaping from the way we dredge the soil and all that
It's
stuff.
all of that, because you really think about it, it goes into, when you talk about agriculture, then you just go into farming. What is everything that we consuming? You know, everything from the hay, the weeds, the processed farming we're doing now.
Exactly.
You know, nobody wants to wait on the process. You know, we got to the point where we're spoiled, we're greedy. We want it right now. We want it right now. And one of the things I think I've learned, you know, just living in Puerto Rico, is just the patience of the process. And the South is kind of like that too. I mean, by no means am I knocking the other region, y'all. Not at all. Don't cancel me. But you know, just growing up in the South, where they still farm, they still chicken, and they still do all of these things, man. I think that we really need to get back to the root of doing proper processes when it comes down to what does our body consume.
Yep.
You know, it's more than just cigars. You're talking about the house that you live in. You know, are you treating your underground? You know, are you using PVC piping? Are you using, you know, lead piping? You talk about the green energy. You know, there are programs out there in the residential part of it, you know, called green building that you can get into.
Of course.
But at the end of the day, I understand the business aspect of it, that it may cost you a little bit more money as a builder to go these routes, because, you know, you're using a more quality grade PVC piping versus a super cheap piping that you just want to get this house up, sold, and out of there. Yeah, get it up and get your money. And people are hungry. I understand all of that, but I'm also saying that the people can take a stand and say, hey, in every business venture that I've been to, I think along the lines of, would I give this to, you know, if I had one, would I give this to my wife? Would I give this to my mother? Would you give this product to someone you love?
Cool.
Now that's a catch too, because some people would.
But I don't care what it is.
Hey, take me. But for a human being with a heart and and a sense of integrity, that answer would probably be no. You know.
So there's a couple things there, like the regenerative agriculture. I mean, again, there's simple things that we can do. I mean, the thing that annoys me the most is we use so much agriculture to feed livestock, where the amount of feed that we generate to livestock for them to just fart and kill us is enough to feed countries. Like there's enough food that we feed to livestock just to get them fattened up, and there's so much methane that comes from that process.
There's so much stuff to do. Chickens is one of them. Man. You know, man, you know how fast they pump up these chickens to get them out there. You know, the chicken don't even mature, and you know, it's kind of like, you really did the process right? You know, what age is a chicken even, quote unquote, I know it sounds bad, eligible to even be laying eggs and breeded and even produced for food.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But even again, back on regenerative agriculture, like even just things like giving the existing agriculture a chance to breathe and revitalize once your livestock walks across it. You just don't walk the cattle the same way each time, right? Like so like if they walk this way Monday and Wednesday, and Tuesday and Thursday they go a different way, so the grass has a chance to come back. Just having, you know, like healthy soil keeps the carbon tracked. But we still gotta address, you know, the demand for livestock and the impact that they do, greenhouse gas emissions, you know, the carbon that is escaping and stuff like that when we're, you know, bringing the soil up and not giving it a chance to heal. So there's a lot there, but obviously, folks, I don't try to get too preachy on this podcast, but there's a lot of things that fossil fuels is definitely to blame for a lot of the emissions, but I don't think a lot of people know how much emissions is being generated, particularly for if you got cattle and dairy farms. It's an insane amount of emissions that's being produced. And again, we're talking about adaptation versus mitigation. So if we're not doing mitigation and we're just adapting, what are we doing to help prepare for flash flooding that comes from hurricanes, things of that nature? Something like healthy soil by itself.
So what are your thoughts then? Do you think that we should prepare for mitigation or adaptation? Like, you know, what is your answer?
I have some questions here, buddy. No, I definitely think, again, as I mentioned, I don't have tremendous faith in human beings changing their behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
So mitigation seems like a far shot. I'd rather prepare. So as we're talking about hurricane season, I'd rather have us preparing for storm surge and flash floods and working on having healthier soil to capture the water so it doesn't run off like crazy and causes flash floods. I think we lose more lives to not preparing for it. Like, we don't do climate adaptation. I think we lose more lives to hurricanes and these weather anomalies that are driven primarily by climate change. So it's like, which comes first, chicken or the egg? If I don't mitigate, right? If I don't mitigate, the temperature's still going to go up. It's going to make the weather anomalies more violent.
Mm-hmm.
If stuff gets more violent and I'm not preparing for it doing climate adaptation, now I'm killing myself twice.
Wow.
And so I look at it, it's like we really need both, but I think that right now we just need to prepare. It's like we need to prepare for adaptation. Like, we need to prepare that we're going to go through the next couple of years, the temperature's going to continue to go up, and we're just going to be stuck with climate change because nobody really feels like we need to address it. Certainly the current administration does not. Trying to keep it's not a full cycle economy yet, but I think you're on the right path to figure that out. And certainly any resources I had to help do that. I guess my final question for you is, it's going to seem like a loaded question.
Oh, man.
But the final question is, what is your opinion of our fraternity's responsibility to get involved in the climate game, like in the climate fight? Right now, we don't have, as far as I know, as of this day, the fraternity has not necessarily taken a stand on where they feel about climate change. And I'll just say this, why folks know I'm already passionate about it, but our fraternity is about the better making of men, it's about leadership, but it is also community service. And one of the things I think we miss as a Black and brown community is that how much of our marginalized communities are impacted by climate change. We look at climate change as hurricanes and earthquakes, and, I can't stop that, those are acts of God. But where most of the environmental injustice occurs is in our communities. It's in our communities. And so we're not doing anything about it. We're not doing any adaptation. We're certainly not mitigating it. And we are where most of this happens. So, and as I said, it feels like a loaded question.
It's loaded, but I have my thoughts on the fraternity state, on what we can do, as we say, the light of the world, the better making of men and leaders. I think this fraternity probably has some of the most smartest men I ever met in my life, just across the globe, across different continents. We have every resource, amongst the Divine Nine period to make this impact. So I think the best answer for that is that we should challenge our brothers and our priorities of getting back focused to the community, and hit that reset button and start small, go back to those communities. A lot of us, and I'm going to include myself in that, is that we climbed out of the trenches, and some of us have maybe never really went back to those trenches because we worked so hard to get ourselves out of those trenches. So I think that we need to challenge ourselves as to, you know, I know they say, hey, man, once you get out the hood, don't go back, or whatever the case may be. But a lot of times, man, if we don't go back, who will?
And somebody went back for us.
Somebody went back for us. You know, people died for us because they went back to us. So I think that would need to come up, and we just probably should challenge the brotherhood to say, hey, listen, you know, take me, you know, one of the things that I without giving too much away is that shout out to Clarksdale, Mississippi, man. They raised me. I was born and raised there. And I'm actually heavily involved in real estate there, as quiet as it kept.
Okay.
But that's one of the ways that I've done is, hey, I tell you what, man, at some point, somebody going to look up and go, damn, wait, this motherfucker own this whole block? We got to go find this, but we need to vote.
Some Tulsa.
Yeah, so what I challenge, I think we need to do is get to the point of, and this is just me putting the real estate hat on now, is that you typically don't care about what you don't own.
That's a fair
And here's where I'm going with that. You know, especially for my black and brown community, you can own your neighborhood. You can own that store on the corner. You can own that abandoned home that's just been sitting there with overgrown grass for so long. If we get in the mentality of this is my community, this is my home, and we own it, and we look at where we put our money on, where we spend our dollars on, I think it'll change and that's the only difference between the underserved community and a thriving community. When you go to a thriving community, the only difference is they own their real estate. They own all of that. So what they're saying is that people, you have to listen to them now, because guess what? They own that address. You want that vote, you have to own that address, versus if you rent that vote, the person that owns that vote, they got to deal with that.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? So if you want change as to what you have, look at where do you put your resources as an individual.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not saying it's our fault of why conditions are the way that I am, but what I am saying is nobody's coming to save us, and we have to get in the mentality that, hey, this is my community, this is my neighborhood. I want to own this neighborhood. I'm tired of us not having, you know, a quality grocery store.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You know, pull your resources together and let's make it happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know, as the resident activist, I'm all for it, right? I'm all for the empowerment.
Yeah.
I'm all for getting active, but I just think that and I've said this on other podcasts, I think the fraternity is missing an opportunity to show up big in our community. One, because of the, like I said, that the climate is affecting our community in a major way. Whether it's the lack of energy independence, you know, whether it's the food supply loss, right?
Water
all of it.
You know,
So all of that factors in, and I think that we are missing an opportunity to serve the community in a way that will really differentiate us as an organization, but it's bigger than that, where we'll have bigger gains in the community that'll be long lasting. We can look back and have a legacy of change that I think that aligns well to what we do as a fraternity. Yeah, if there's other brothers out there that feel the same way we do, like this is not the hill to die on necessarily, but I invite you and even non-brothers to write back to me or visit keepthatsamegreenenergy.org and give me feedback, because again, I think that we're missing an opportunity as an organization, and we're typically the first to do things. So you know, to this point, ain't nobody gonna save us but us.
Ain't nobody gonna save us
we're
but us,
typically the people to run to the smoke. And this is a fire that's been burning for a while. Did you have any closing things that you wanted to share?
If you didn't get a chance to, you know, support Keep That Green Energy, this brother's doing a lot of great things. He won't give himself the flowers, but man, you have a topic and a passion for something that for many may not be quote unquote sexy to talk about, but man, it's probably one of the most important topics and issues that you're highlighting. Man, I just applaud you for having the courage to talk about something that may not be as colorful as, you know, a toxic or a dramatic podcast, man. You have, you know, Bravado's full support and whatever we can do to promote that. Didn't get a chance, you know, feel free to follow us as well. Bravado_cigars or bravadocigars.net. I just want to say thank you to, you know, the island of Puerto Rico. Thank you to Texas. Thank you, you know, to Mississippi. Thank you to everybody that has supported me, Jimmy, myself, my family, my businesses. I don't take it lightly, and I thank you for even, you know, asking me to be a part of this important topic, man. I don't take that lightly, and you know, keep doing what you're doing, man. We're proud of you.
Likewise.
And keep handling your business, man. Keep that same green energy. Yeah.
And will. No, I will certainly do that. I appreciate the flowers. But also, like, you know, it goes back to you, like, I get inspired by other brothers that are passionate about whatever your passion is, right? I don't need everybody to have the same passion. But to quote one of my best friends and executive director of the organization, you know, like, it doesn't matter. I don't have to like the same things you like, but you like it, so I love it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm gonna support you. I'm gonna support you because you love it. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna get behind you and follow the line. And so, you know, I'm not a big cigar aficionado. I credit my Sans Vinny for introducing me to some of the cigars. His cigar game is crazy.
Yeah.
But, you know, I will say that it is an experience. Your cigars, it is a different experience. That's what hooked it for me. We had that conversation. We
did.
Break that down. And
Yeah, so you may not be able to see this. You probably blow it up on the screen. But my initial, you know, part of being a business and being a leader, I'm going to say being a leader, is that you have to be able to accept criticism on the chin.
Yep.
And my very first label was similar to the one that you see here in the middle. It was a black and gold B with like some decorative crest on the side. And I think Johanse remember I gave it to a couple friends, and they gave me some brutally honest truth about. They were like, "Man, your cigar is great, but what the hell is this?" And so, and I'm like, "Wait, you know, I created that label, and you know, I was hurt a little bit, you know, because when you do a business, you take things a little emotional, you take it a little personal."
Yeah.
And I had two brothers, you know, I think it was Eric and Johanse. They were just like, "You being emotional because you created a problem that wasn't a problem." You know, even with just the cigar thing in general, this is just my full transparency. And I remember those brothers, Johanse and Eric, man, you know, they was like, "Yeah, but your cigar don't tell a story. What is bravado? Who is bravado? Like what does this mean?"
Yeah.
And I took that shit personal. I never told them, but I took that shit to heart. I did. Johanse's in the corner over here. Y'all can't see him. But I took it to heart. Yeah. I took it to heart. I never told him this. He's hearing this for the first time. But I took it to heart. And man, I stared at that label. They were right. And so what I did was I went back and I thought about, first and foremost, what is bravado? Who is Jimmy Bodies behind it? And what does he represent? And who is he?
Okay.
And so when we designed this label, I wanted to tell the full story. And this will be a label that, you know, I only made 1,000 of these and I won't make any more.
Okay.
So out of these 1,000 labels, we'll start off on the right side. You have the garita and then you have the Puerto Rican flag. So the garita and the Puerto Rican flag, that's my homage to the territory of Puerto Rico. And I'm sorry if I get a little emotional. They gave me an opportunity that most, you know, non-Puerto Ricans, aka gringos, don't get when you get here. They gave me an opportunity to learn the cigar industry, to learn the tobacco industry. They gave me an opportunity to flourish. They gave me, you know, my first events. They gave me my first real feedback and test to the cigar industry. And if you guys don't know anything about it, that's a big deal in the Caribbean.
They put the suit on and tie for you.
Cigars is a big deal in the Caribbean industry, so it's kind of like your rite of passage to even get there. So you look on the social media, see the events, it's very diverse. It's very welcoming because, you know, they said, yes, you got this one right.
Yeah.
You know, you're in Puerto Rico, but you got this one right. You got this.
That's
and
big.
so if you move over towards the left side of the label, you'll see a U.S. flag with a salute. that's my way of not forgetting where I came from and all the hard work that it took to even get to this side. And the salute, I'm also a U.S. military veteran as well, so that's me paying homage to everything that I fought for, everything that's been a part of my life. It still started there. One of the questions was, well, hey, is this a Puerto Rican cigar or American cigar? So what I did was I paid homage to both because I represent both as I grow in this industry. The black and gold Bravado symbol represents the sign of excellence. I know most people will say, oh, that's my alpha colors or whatever, but hey, alpha does represent excellence and prosperity and etc. So we're gonna leave that out there. But the black and gold represents the steadiness, the level of excellence, championships, winning. That's what the gold represents. Gold is designed to talk about the luxury. Now, the part that throws everybody off is the blue and gold label that says blue collar gold. So blue collar gold was my dedication to hardworking, people in the Caribbean, Puerto Rico, the U.S., Texas, Mississippi, everywhere that I've ever been. Just in general, it's that hardworking people deserve quality cigars. So blue collar gold is for those people that are in the trenches. If you're working every day, you're working a 9 to 5, you're sweating. You even if you work in the office, but if you're giving it all you got for your family to support yourself, this cigar is for you. So that's why it's called blue collar gold, because I dedicated this cigar to the hardworking people that built this world on a day-to-day basis.
Eagles fans.
Yeah. So that's what the blue collar gold represents. Again, this would be a limited edition. I will only have 1,000 of these labels, and so once I run out of these labels, I may hire about 4 or 5 of them for myself. But that's it. So that's blue collar gold. Sacrifice is in the oven right now.
Okay.
So Sacrifice is the next blend. Okay. And blue collar gold is still my favorite. Oh shit!
Wow. Talk about it. This is a perfect segue. This is a perfect segue to the Keep That Same Green Energy podcast.
It's been real, y'all.
It's been real. We appreciate our guest, Jimmy Bobby.
You can't even script this.
You can't script this, folks. We're in Puerto Rico, and the power went out.
Keep that same green energy.
Keep that same green energy. We love y'all.
You think we'd be sick? I'm running out of energy. See, we use.
Yo, yeah. Don't worry if I stay strapped or if I may snap. No straight clap, I shoot straight like running back, shoot through the A-gap. These rappers, everything they say is cap. Ladies, little YNs down like it's a day nap and leave a hole on top of their head. Why does the pay gap? They ask me now, why would you say that? Cause you about to play taps when they play saxophones. It's payback, I'm grown, and I'm not about no games, I'm not Sajak. Gangsta shit we can get into. Your dogs will get touched, no petting zoo. Trust and believe I can get petty too. They said he won't let this walk, but I bet he do. It's a cold world, I can bring that heat indoors. And when the ninjas see the hammer, think he meeting Thor, I'm meeting the Lord. God bless.
You think we'd be sick? I'm running out of energy.